Savaged Unfiltered.
This program contains subject matter and language that may be disturbing to some viewers. Viewer discretion is advised.
There we go again.
More technical problems. We live in the 21st century.
Savaged Unfiltered.
Not only should we not be supporting them, but we gave $30 billion. Did you know we gave $30 billion this weekend?
Your host, Michael Gardner.
Alrighty, guys, welcome to Savaged Unfiltered. I am your host, Michael Gardner. Guys, we have a guest we're about to bring on here soon, very, very soon here on the show. But guys, I want to discuss some amazing news here on the podcast. Well, it's awesome for us, but it's kind of sad for the person or the company I'm about to talk about here on the show. We have been partnered with Photo Room. Now, for those who are not aware of Photo Room is a app either available on Google Play or the Apple Store, which gives the content creator or a podcast or any type of, even YouTube show, any type of show that you may have, the opportunity to create posters, YouTube covers, just about everything. We've been partnered with this company since like the beginning of this year. And I'd like to say thank you for allowing us to produce awesome, cutting edge 4K quality of posters. Not only did it bring a extra hype to the show, but a lot of listeners actually enjoyed some of the graphics that we used through Photo Room. So I want to say thank you to Photo Room, but I also want to say goodbye to Photo Room as we are going into other avenues for the show. Now, nothing against Photo Room. We've been using them for months and months and months, but we just decided to go somewhere else. So I just wanted to throw that out there to the listeners that have been tuning into the show from the very start. Like I said, good things down the road are coming to the show, without a doubt. Guys, before I bring on my guest here, just in a little bit, I'm going to bring her on here in about another 9-10 minutes. I want to talk about what's happening also on this show. Now, I want to say thank you to the listeners that tuned in yesterday for an amazing show that I did with my co-host that normally joins us on Mondays, Joseph M. Leonard. We talked about his book. He has another book coming out, How to Write a Book and Get It Published, which is now his second international book. Now, the man, guys, had written a lot of different books over the years. Just never published them for some strange reason. Now, I never really got into that with Joseph. I really need to start getting into that with Joseph about why he never really published the other books, because there's a lot of national copyrights that this guy owns. And there's reasons behind that. So like I said, hopefully soon I can get the answers from Joseph, but it's tremendous. The first book, Terror Strikes Coming to a City Near You, which is doing phenomenal on Amazon, I'm being told, by Joseph and others that have read the book. And his next book, How to Write a Book and Get It Published, that's coming out very, very soon. I'm told by the end of this month, it should be on newsstands and Amazon.com. So that's some awesome stuff, guys. Really, really good stuff. What else is going on? About the book for us. We are writing a book here on the show. Well, I'm writing the book. I got to stop saying we because I'm talking like in a third sentence. But I'm writing a book here for the show. Called America's Political Warfare, Our Modern Civil War. It's done and it's published. I'm just waiting for Amazon to officially launch it to their website, and then the other companies such as Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, and others that you may see a book at to have that released to. So that should be available, guys, December 30th. We got the official launch date. So December 30th, which is like roughly, what's the day? The 20th? So roughly in about another 10 days, guys, you should be able to have your copy of America's Political Warfare, Our Modern Civil War. So tremendous book, guys. Covers a lot of what I discuss here on the show in the political sense. Now, folks that have been paying attention, I have been getting into other content here on the show.
Savaged, unfiltered.
I just want to lay that out. I have been discussing many different types of forms of content and material on the show. I think it's important to kind of mesh it up, give the listeners a little bit of a variety. There we go. Variety, right? Right, Shaky? Variety. Tongue twister. A different sense of just who Michael Gardner is, right? So, that's awesome. I've been getting a lot of listeners and followers on my social media accounts saying, Michael, talk about something else. We love the politics, man, but, you got to fucking talk about something else. So we've been getting into it. And, rightfully so, guys. Rightfully so. So what's there to say? So we are approaching Christmas, right? Christmas in about another 5 days from now. It's right around the freaking corner. God, December's been going by quickly. I hope everybody's ready for Christmas, man. You got your Christmas lights going on. You're burning up the electric bill. Yeah, a lot of us are going to be like, shit. I can imagine what the electric bill is going to be in January when I get it, the 1st of January, the first week, or however your bill falls on. For those who question my Christmas decorations, I don't do Christmas. Well, I do Christmas with family and friends, obviously, celebrate it and, try to make as many family and friend appearances as possible during the holidays. But I don't decorate my condo as much as when I was a little boy. I mean, growing up in, New Jersey, New York City area, I used to love the holiday. I used to love Christmas and Thanksgiving and, especially New Year's and stuff. I used to love those time of the year. But, you get older now, which I'm in my early 40s, guys, and you get older, man, and you just don't – it's just not the same like it once was, right? It's different. So I just don't do Christmas decorations as much as, when I was younger. When I was younger, I used to love putting up the lights with my mother and my dad. And, we used to have a ball, going outside in 20-degree weather and just putting up the lights and everything. And that was fun, man, around the snow. And well, if it did snow around that time of the year, but it used to be fun. It used to be I used to have full of excitement, man, doing it. And, like I said, you get older, man, and it's just like you just don't want to be bothered anymore. I know that sounds depressing and everything, and a lot of people are like, geez, you sound like a Scrooge or, bah humbug type of dude. See it as it is, but I don't know, man. I'm just not into the, I guess the holiday spirit as I once was as a kid. You get, like I said, you get older, man, you get busy with different things, different projects that may come across. And, it is what it is. It is what it is. It's just, it's a lot different, I guess. A lot different. So I hope everybody's going to have a great holiday. I hope everybody has their Christmas shopping done, or somewhat of a orderly fashion. And if you don't, I know there's only like 4 days left, right? Right, Shaky? 4 days. I think does the stores close on the 24th, Shaky, or they stay open? I know there's a lot of stores that stay open till like about 5. I know Walmart is one store. There's a few others. Best Buy is another store. I think they stay open till like 2 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Depending on, what time zone you live in. So this week is going to be probably the busiest week throughout the entire month of December. Everybody getting those last minute Christmas shopping agendas in order. They're trying to get everything done, which I get. It can be very stressful at times.
Savaged, unfiltered.
For one, I'm not big on Christmas shopping. I get probably like 1 or 2 gifts, per person. I'm not that crazy delusional shopper, man, where I have to buy like 16 gifts for somebody. Because to me, man, like that's not Christmas. That's not the true meaning behind Christmas. I think the true meaning behind Christmas is really like, being around the ones that you love, the ones that you care about. That's the true meaning, man. That's the Christmas gift in my eyes. It's funny, we don't see those as a kid. We don't see the Christmas shopping as a kid, like we see we see it differently. So I just wanted to throw that out there. I do see you, Layla. 1 second, ma'am. I'm about to bring you onto the show. But it's a lot different. Like we live in different times now, where Christmas is obviously looked at a different angle. But I just wanted to throw that out there, guys. I hope everybody has a great holiday, and especially in these times. We live in very difficult times. And it can be stressful, guys. But without further ado, guys, I hope you don't mind me rambling on with my Christmas misery, right? A lot of people might see it like that. But, guys, I want to bring on our guest here. She is a fellow podcaster, such as myself, and she is the host of the Curious Girl Diaries podcast.
Jay, I appreciate that. How hot is that you guys listen to me while you're fucking? I just love that.
This is Layla London. Welcome to Savage Unfiltered, ma'am. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you for being part of the show. Now, Layla, the podcast name, it's very unique in its aspect. I had the opportunity to check out like 3 of your shows in randomly order. And there's a couple shows that kind of stuck to myself, and I wanted to question about it. Not put you out there, but just question. First and foremost, how did you come up with the name, the Curious Girl Diaries podcast?
Oh my gosh. Well, first of all, I want to say that I just started my 7th year yesterday. And so I'm a little fuzzy on, when I roll the clock back, how I knew I was kind of calling myself the Curious Girl. And so the podcast actually started, it wasn't meant to be a 7-year show. It was meant to be really just 1 year of me documenting kind of what happened and the changes within me if I decided that for a solid year that I was going to make my sex life a priority, really focus on my sexuality, create a sex bucket list, knock things off, have fun adventures. And then the idea was, I would just document all this through a podcast, but end it at the end of the year. That was really the idea going into it. So I knew I was calling myself the Curious Girl, and these were really just my diaries about my adventures.
Yeah. Now, you said that it was not intended to go to the 7th season. Why is that? Like, did you have like a certain time frame when you wanted to, basically, in layman's terms, folks, kill your own show? I mean, did you only have a certain time frame where you just wanted to put enough content in, do a podcast? Okay, I did that, and then kind of move on to another venture in your life, or?
Yeah, it was never, like I said, it was only solely really for me to document what was going on with the changes in me, just catching myself in the moment as I'm having these fun adventures. It just kind of like an audio journal format. It caught on. People started listening. I didn't do any sort of promoting of it. This was back 7 years ago, where these syndicators of podcasts, they, aggregate your show based on the genre when somebody searched for something else. And I think that's how people were picking it up. If you search for something similar, they'd suggest my show too. And it grew and grew and grew. And when people knew that it was supposed to end at the end of the year, they kept saying, no, don't shut it down. Don't shut it down. And at that point, again, not knowing where I would be at the end of it was fun and exciting. And I just didn't realize that it would be popular, and that then I would also, what I was doing was actually a good idea and a good thing for me. And that I wanted to keep that momentum going personally. I wanted to continue this focus on my sexuality and my sex life. And so I thought, well, okay, I'll do one more year. So every year for the first, 3 years, it was like, all right, guys, I'll do one more year. And now I just really realize it's a show.
Yeah, it is a show. And, you say, the word diaries in your show label, that's basically, how you're explaining it, like it's more of a digital type of diary, of a documentary of, who Layla London is, through your sexuality, of how you decided. I mean, folks, literally, this is a girl next door. And we're going to discuss that here in a moment. Literally a girl next door who recently decided to explore her sexuality through her podcasting, which, Layla, I have to say, that is a huge risk. A lot of women, no matter how old they are in life, they just don't come out on, a syndicated or now, more of a digital talk radio show such as podcasting to come out like that. So that I have to give it prop to you that is a huge risk of doing that. Now, at first, when you decided to, basically explore your sexuality through podcasting, were you timid on doing that at first? Because there's always that thought, no matter if you're a woman or a guy, to pursue that.
Yeah. So let me answer that question, and also following up on what you were saying previously, is that because I originated it with the belief that I would just be doing it for a year, I never revealed who I was. So Layla is, not my real name, and nobody knows who I am actually. And so I maintained, the fun part about all this is that I've maintained that anonymity. And it's also interesting to me in our culture of, where especially women, you're supposed to show every part of your body and, every aspect, every angle, you use all these filters and constantly kind of feed them the social media machine with images of yourself and what you're doing. And I'm having a coffee and all that crap. I've never had to do that. The show stands on its own. People do not know what I look like. I do consider myself an attractive female. I tease people with parts, you can kind of see a partial picture of me on social media with my face, or I'll show, me sitting at my desk with my microphone, but you don't, it's cut off, right? So you don't see my full face. It's just kind of been really fun that nobody knows who I really am. And so that's, again, the whole girl next door thing. I could be your neighbor and you wouldn't know. So
wow.
I haven't had to deal with the backlash or the potential backlash if people knew. I still deal with backlash and haters because, a female that's out there talking about sexuality can rub people the wrong way. But for the most part, it's been very positive. And I really have loved the fact that I still have the benefit of being anonymous and just live a pretty regular, quiet life.
Yeah. And I have to say, 7 years, that's awesome. I mean, we're just going into our fourth season myself as a podcast. And a lot of people question me the same way, Layla, with like, how come you don't do video podcasting? Video podcasting is so much more popular than audio. I get it. I really do. But guys, you got to remember something. Doing audio is, and then versus video, it's more of like a personal type of scale. Like I grew up with, syndicated talk radio. before podcasting was podcasting. I'm sure, depending on, how you sound over the air, Layla, you and I are pretty much close in age, if I'm guessing. So we're used to the old version of talking through, a microphone and then having it through the airwaves. Video, like I said, video is cool. And I have decided, myself to go to video this January, which is a big push for me. I have done, little cameos on the show here and there with video, but I gotta tell you, Layla, it's a fucking bitch, man. To do the editing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I don't do the editing of anything. Thank goodness, somebody else does that. But yes, and the other thing is, from the female side, it's like then I'd always have to be worried about what I look like. When I record at home, I sit down in my office, I have a recording studio in my office. I sit down and I just let it, if I have a bunch of episodes to crank out or whatever, I can do that in my pajamas with my hair up. It doesn't have to be always like I'm quote unquote going to work and I got to look professional. And, so I've definitely appreciated that I've been able just to do voice as well. But I think it's interesting too, because voice is really powerful and people are drawn to it. And I feel like because there's no picture to entertain them, you're really, really focused in on what the person is saying, especially if they're telling a story. You can, and the way I describe things and as descriptive as I get. And I feel like my listeners really get pulled in and they're almost like they can imagine this hot sexual experience that I'm explaining in their heads. They're there with me. Yeah.
And like I said, I want to dig into, just all that here in a moment. But now what I was going to say here. Oh, yeah. I thought I lost my train of thought. I heard sex. I'm like, oh, boy. Anyway. But so got a question here for you. I was looking at some of your episodes. And the episode, what is it? Episode 47. Now that was titled Layla from the Curious Girl Diaries. Now that episode I have listened to, I didn't listen to the whole thing, but I just listened to like bits and pieces of it because that's going to sound strange, Layla. I do listen to full length podcast episodes from time to time, different types of shows, different genres and stuff like that. But I listen to, sometimes the middle, the mid roll, and sometimes the pre roll of the episodes. Now,
back in episode, holy shit, that's like way. Forgive the roughness of the audio. That was me freewheeling it in the wild, wild west back then. Like I had no editing team. And remember, I was thinking this is going to come down in a year, so I didn't really pay much attention to how the quality, of the audio. But
quality was like, it sucked, guys. I got to tell you that. It was fucking terrible. But, hey, listen, sometimes it's not just about the quality. It's about, the material on that episode. And it struck me like, I'm like, wow, this fucking girl she's throwing it all out there. Oh, my God.
I don't even remember. I've got 340 something episodes at this point. So I don't remember what was that one about.
Well, it was about like, how you, we'll plug it into the show, obviously, and everything, but it was about, like who you are as an individual, where you're going. And there was a lot of, I gotta say, Layla, I hate this. I don't want to make fun of you, but it was like a lot of like, like the uhs, like the person like learning how to speak through airwaves. I get it. I've been on radio for like 20 years. Before podcasting was fucking podcasting. I'm a tech guy, so I do all my my hosting myself, and then I have a buddy of mine that basically grew up in the industry like me, and we do all the editing. We take turns and stuff, and we help one another. But I think that's what's great. You learn how to do the stuff in podcasting, and you can host at the same time. It's both of the same worlds. But yeah, there was a lot of us and ahs. So, but hey, you got to learn some way.
Well, I still have a lot of filler words, and that's just something that my editing team deals with. But I know it's yes, I you can feel my pain, I'm sure, because when it's raw footage. I mean, there's just a lot of filler words. I think when I put my own filler words at one point, there might have been, 10 minutes where if I did an hour episode, I might have pulled out, and this is so embarrassing, like probably 10 minutes worth of filler words.
Oh, filler words are a bitch sometimes, but you gotta put them in, I mean, it's.
So it's the way it is. Yeah.
Yeah. I get a lot of podcast, new podcast hosts I sometimes have on the show, and I tell them these terms, through the industry, and they're like, "What the fuck is that?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh,
yeah. All your ums and uhs and likes and knows and that stuff." But that's kind of how I talk. So.
Yeah. So you had a thing with hot bar stories. Like, what was that? Like, I know a woman has a lot of stories, with the bar stuff, like they run into a bar, they see a dude at the bar, there's a lot of stuff going on in their head. Like, I'm sure you had some amazing bar stories. You want to tell them?
Those aren't actually my bar stories. So I do Tuesday episodes are just me. Saturdays I have guests on, and those guests have a podcast, the TNA podcast. They're hilarious. And I just was like, they have all these, basically these two friends that tell all these bar stories, and of course it revolves around sex. So I was like, perfect, come on the show. And oddly enough, that episode got me some flack because they're kind of some redneck guys, which I love. I love them. They're just salt of the earth. Like, they play in a band, they do gigs in bars, and they meet chicks and they hook up, and and they're just telling these hilarious stories. And for some reason, some people just thought that was, I don't know, they didn't like some of the stories they told. And so I got some flack over that. But I'm like, nope, you know what? It's their story. When you come on my show, you get to tell my story. And it is what it is. So.
Well, you mentioned redneck guys. Like, what gets you hot with the redneck guys?
It's just, of course, it's an umbrella term. I don't want it to be, it's not meant to be derogatory anyway. That just, to me, it's like, these are like real men, they do real skilled labor jobs. And for me, as I've gone through this journey sexually, what I know now is how much I just appreciate and love a real man. And I'm not one of those women that's believes in that term toxic masculinity. I think that's a bunch of fucking bullshit. I think you got to stop crippling men and let them be men. That's what they are, and we don't want women. We need to stop putting men in that position to have to be something other than they are, or try to be this metrosexual, or, they have penises, like there's testosterone plays a big role in manhood, and it makes you have certain characteristics. And I think that's great. And so just, these are guys that, would hold the door for you. But they're also guys that are doing, physical labor, truck drivers, this kind of stuff. Just like I that do this great work, and I just appreciate them.
Yeah. I mean, that's, hey, every man in this world has to be loved, Layla. I mean, no matter how you see it.
I think there's been this huge push. It's just my opinion. I see this big push, of where men are sort of catching a lot of heat for things that I don't think they should be catching heat for, and I think, again, as women, you can emasculate a man and pigeonhole him and make him miserable at home and all that. But, that's not really what you want. Ultimately, you want a man to be the leader, to be protective, and, kind of be your knight in shining armor. And we're getting away from that, I think.
Yeah. So, I mean, you mentioned, the type of man and everything, that attracts you and everything. My question is like, what type of man, what type of man gets Layla hot? I mean, are you more of a woman in charge, or do you want the man to basically run the show?
Okay. Yes. No. I want I want a man to be a man. Like, I love the traditional gender roles. I mean, I want to be in my feminine. I love a tall, strapping man. I'm tall. I'm 5'10". I love guys that are taller than me, that are kind of physically imposing. That just makes my girl brain just go crazy. You know, when broad shoulders, where you can feel safe and tiny and protected, and he can kind of throw you around like a rag doll in the bedroom. And yeah, that's it for me right there. I mean, I want him to be the guy. I don't want to be in charge. I don't need to be telling him what to do. He's a grown up. You know, he can make his decisions. I don't want to be making them for you. And because, you know, when you're out there in the world, in the workplace, you kind of got that as a woman, you kind of got that armor on, you're making all these decisions for yourself. You're doing all this stuff. You're climbing the corporate ladder. When I come home, I want to take all that off and be a woman.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, you don't want no fucking wimp in the fucking bedroom. I mean, you know, you get a fucking wimp in the bedroom.
Savaged, unfiltered.
That doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. Can't fucking stimulate you. I mean, like the sex is going to be fucking terrible, Layla. It really is, man.
So, I mean, well, hold on. Some people are into that. Some people are into, you know, the femdom, the female-led relationships, all that kind of stuff. There's something out there for everybody. But for me, no. I mean, the man has to be the man. I like being told no. I mean, it turns me on. Like because I am a type A, so I want to push the boundaries, but I love being checked. I love it when I know, oh, okay, I crossed the line. You know what? You're right. I respect you. I'm not going to do it, but I'll tell you what, I will get right on that line sometimes. Cause for me, it's a bit of a turn on, you know, it's kind of playful and erotic in some ways to kind of test the boundaries a little bit. And then, you know, that he's like, nope, it's not happening like that. Let me tell you how it's going to be.
Now, is that just in like just regular conversation, or like is that during sex and stuff? Like for instance, like say you and I were dating, which I mean, obviously we're not, folks. I'm just using it for example. You know, I get a lot of like fucking sensitive people, even like grown ass adults. They're like, oh my god, they're dating. No, we're not dating, folks. I'm using it for a fucking example. Like say we're dating, right, Layla, and you know it comes to the time where you know we're getting intimate. Now, if I tell you, no, I don't like that fucking position, we're going to do it this way. Does it also include the sex too, or is it just regular conversation?
Well, regular conversation is great. Again, none of this is disrespectful, right? So it's not done like disrespectfully. Hey, you fucking bitch, get over here and service me, that kind of thing. Unless you're doing a role play and you're into that. But in the bedroom, take me on a journey, you know, like I love when a guy has a big, good, long playbook. Like you're moving around different positions. It doesn't get boring. It's not this, okay, first I give you a little oral, you give me a little oral, then I get on top, I get off. Okay, then it's your turn. Okay, good, done. Let's go. Let's go brush our teeth and go whatever, start our day. I like spontaneity. I like long sessions. Hours worth, you know. I don't.
You're fucking PG in it, like from like when we're like fucking maybe 18 or 20 years old. Like, okay, I you know, you could suck my dick, I could fucking eat you out, and then boom, 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 and then it's done. You know, 20 fucking minutes later, you're fucking having a cigarette, and then you're fucking watching like fucking Jeopardy or something. You know.
Some people still do that. That's all they do. It's boring. To me, it's boring. Like it's too monotonous. I can't. You know, I think there's so many different ways, versions of a sex act, so many different things you can do that there's no shortage. And so why are you just constantly repeating the same sequence over and over and over and over? Mix it up.
Yeah, I like to mix it up too. I mean, if I'm doing the same shit over and over and over, I'm going to be like, all right, this shit's fucking boring. Nothing against the woman. You're great. You're an attractive girl or this and that. But I mean, listen, if I can't have a healthy sexual chemistry with you, I'm moving on. You know, I mean, that's it.
Right.
So, I mean, but, like you said, obviously people are into that, they like that stuff, and that's that. But now you got a bucket list from 2021. Yeah, I've been doing my homework on you, Layla, because I always love to see who the hell I'm talking to on the show.
Yeah.
So you got a bucket list of 2021, right? Did you fulfill that yet, or is it still in the works?
I have several. I have a new bucket list every year. So that one, either I don't know if I scratched everything off and carried some forward. Sometimes I get everything scratched off, and then other times I carry a few things forward. The one thing I keep carrying forward, which is unbelievable to me, it's my Mount Kilimanjaro. I have, of all the crazy shit I've done, I've still yet to have a threesome, either male, female, male, or female, female, male. But I'm working on it right now. I mean, not this second, but I am very, very close to making it happen. So I'm excited. My goal is before the end of the year.
Yeah, I got to cut in. You said you never had a threesome before?
No.
Oh my God.
I know. And I get just about everything. It's like, this is so strange to me. Why I can't seem to put this together. I have probably overanalyzed it, from go, and it's just never been the right scenario. And now I'm kind of realizing that I just need to lighten up about it and just, go for it, basically. Go for it and see what happens.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're missing out. I mean, it's, what an experience. I mean, I experienced my first threesome when I was like maybe 18 going on 19, and I was nervous as shit about it back then. And I'm like, oh God, like what? But it wasn't like your standard, like, two dudes and a guy. It was actually me and like two other chicks. And I was nervous.
I don't think I knew about threesomes back then. I'm not kidding you. Like, I'm trying to think, like, when did I first know about threesomes? 18, 19, it was not on my radar. No way.
But see, I was nervous about it. The reason why I was nervous is I was like, oh shit, like, what if I get canceled out? And what if the other two girls, like, like fucking start diking out with one another? And then I'm like fucking put on the fucking dust, and like but it was great. It turned out to be like probably like the best sexual experience I've ever had in my life.
It's funny that you say that about getting dusted out. I had a boyfriend, this is a long time ago. I had one boyfriend, and he didn't want to was afraid of another girl because he thought it's kind of, I guess, same thing, like that I would all of a sudden start liking girls more than him and that I wouldn't want to be with him. And I'm like, what? So obviously he had some insecurity issues, and that kind of brought that out. But, good for you just for being adventurous and doing that at 18. I don't think I would have.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm just going to let the listeners know. Folks, I was 18. Now, these girls that I was with, they were like 22, like right around like their last year of college.
Oh.
So, yeah, all my friends were like giving me slap hand pies because I'm still in high school. Like I'm a senior in high school. And they're like, dude, you just got what fucking two fucking hot college chicks from Boston Tech.
You were the man.
Oh, my God, yeah. And I'm like – I'm looking at him. I'm like, why do you want, like, what do you want with an 18-year-old like kid? I'm like a kid still. I'm an adult though, but I'm still a kid. And the two girls were like, well, you're hung like a jack horse. I'm like, oh, well, that's the only reason.
Are you hung like a jack horse?
Oh yeah. I mean, I ain't gonna fucking lie. I mean, I'm probably pushing like maybe like a 10 and a half, but.
Wait. Really? It's that long?
Oh yeah,
this is if it's long and skinny, that's we want some girth. It's really the girth. How girthy is it?
Well, it's long, but it's also girthy. I would say, oh God, how can I express it?
I mean, you've held it up to a remote. Are we talking like a standard remote, or are we talking like a soda can?
Oh no, I'm talking about, well, a remote is longer than a soda can.
I'm talking about the width of like a remote, like a TiVo remote or something like that.
Oh, the width would probably be like a little bit wider than like a TiVo remote. Like TiVo remote is probably like what, like about 2.5 inches. It's probably like pushing like maybe like 3 and a little like 3.5, I guess maybe. I mean, that's pretty wide. That's pretty wide.
I'm blushing.
No, Layla, I don't want to brag over the show, but I mean, I'm not a male whore or anything like that. I'm not like, like male gigolo or some shit you'd see in the movie, but I guess that's why I'm single today, because like your typical women today, and I noticed this in the last women I've been with, on dates and, just steady dates and this and that. A standard woman today, and maybe it's just my personal experience, a standard woman today cannot handle like the average sex with a caliber of a dude like me. And it sucks really, because like I'm not your typical like 1960s guy where it's like we're gonna have some really really enjoyable sex, fellas, or whatever, But I like a medium to like kind of like rough type of sex scenario. Like I like the fucking hair pulling, I like the fucking banging against the fucking headboard. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you like to bottom out.
Yeah. And my last two women I've been with, my ex and then, my ex-wife, the first woman I was with, my first serious relationship, they bitched out after like 20 minutes. And I'm like, I can't have that shit,
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Yeah. They were like, oh God, I got to stop. I'm like, what you got to stop for? Keep on going. I'm just getting started.
20 minutes? Like it was, then they'd be tapping out?
Yeah, they're like, they can't handle it anymore. I'm like, why can't you handle it? And my ex-wife was like, I'm not going to say her name over the air for privacy issues, but she would be like, she would burn out, and I call it bitching out, but it's burning out, same thing. But she would burn out like because of the girth and the length, and she was like, well, it was hurting me and this and that. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to fuck you like a little bit past my head. That sucks. That's what kind of fucking pleasure am I getting then,
Yeah. I have a question for you. Girl on top, yes or no?
What's that?
Girl on top, yes or no?
I prefer that. I love that.
Okay. I just today, as a matter of fact, I released an episode today titled Girl on Top. And that was because I always loved being on top. I like all the positions, but I always, enjoyed being on top. Obviously, you have more control. A guy can grab your hips and, you can get all this great friction, and you can be really vigorous with it or kind of slower. You can control the tempo, all this stuff. So I just thought, and I always thought guys love to see a girl on top. I had a friend partner who burst my bubble on the show during an episode. He was recording with me, and he said, yeah, it's good for the girls, but a lot of guys don't enjoy it as much because we can't get the proper friction. And I was just like, huh?
Layla, I gotta step in. He that guy that you were talking to or whatever, that guy sounds like a fucking rookie, a lackey. I gotta say something, fellas. Like you will get if you're doing it right now, Layla, you will get, and this is my own personal experience. Maybe they don't see it this way because they're not doing it the way they should be doing it. You get the same amount of pleasure that you would get as if you were doing it missionary. You know what I mean?
That's what I thought. And so I had this phase there for a while where I, wasn't really trying to initiate that position very much unless a guy was like, hey, get on top. Well, I finally the other day I was with someone and I got on top, and I just fucked the shit out of him, and it was so good. And it was like my comeback moment. I'm like, fuck yes. He was grabbing my hips. It was amazing, just the right amount of friction. It was phenomenal. Got a great video of it. And, and I thought, yes, I am back. I am back on top with this one position like this. Oh, because most women love that position. So there was a little moment in time there about a year and a half where I was like, yeah, I would do it, but I didn't have that love of it that I used to have. Well, I reclaimed that, so I'm happy about that.
Got a question for you. I always love asking this type of question to women such as yourself and women that are able to talk like this on a relaxing level, because some women today that they don't like talking like this because it's embarrassing, and this I get it. Hey, everybody's different, to each his own. I love talking about it because it's sometimes it's natural and it you learn stuff from different people. What type of persona do you look for in a man? I'm a city guy, for an example. I grew up in New Jersey, New York City area, as you can probably hear in my voice.
Yes.
Are you more into you? Well, I got to take that back. Let me retract my statement because Layla, folks, earlier in this episode says that she digs a Southern guy, like a hillbilly redneck type of guy. Now,
well, I don't want to label myself. I like some of the characteristics.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, like, have you ever been with a city guy before? Or?
Oh, most of my guys are city guys. So for me, the country guys, that's what's kind of novel. So, I grew up in the city, so I'm more of definitely a city girl, and I like city guys. My first, the first kind of guy that I was attracted to, and for the longest time, like that was kind of my pattern was, just powerful businessmen. Like that fucking drove me crazy. A guy in a suit, was just like, so goddamn hot. And then, over time, what I've been able to do, I guess, with this 7 years of exploring is really appreciate men of all walks of life. And I've had relationships with different kinds. I mean, just doesn't have to be based on a certain criteria for, partnering up and eventually marrying, like, all that stuff you want to check off. What I realized was a lot of that stuff that I kept going for, that, he checks all these boxes on paper. How come I don't want to marry this guy? Like everybody says he's great. He's a doctor. He's this, check, check, check. But there was something, things were missing. What I realized is that I love dominant men, and I find a lot more dominant men to be in the, I guess if you want to, I don't know why you want to go back to rednecks, but just, like Southern men, like, guys that were raised hunting and fishing, and, they know how to hunt and kill things. And I don't even eat meat. I don't, yes, but still like manly stuff. That turns me on. Like, again, that a man could be a provider and a protector, like that fucking turns me on. And so I just have really broadened my, widened my net, if you want to say, of what I appreciate about a man. And it's just a lot of different things.
Yeah, I get it. I just wanted to throw that out there because, there's different, obviously women like different types of personas, city guys, Southern guys, fucking.
I just love men. Honestly, the truth is I really do. Like if you're, if you are tall and attractive and there's a spark there's a chemistry, then yeah.
Well, what about the size? Everybody says size matters. Do you see that or no?
Well, it does to a certain point, and then it doesn't. So, the average size guy is like 5 to 6 inches, I believe.
Really? That's it? You're probably like, what the hell is this guy talking about? It like, is he serious? Is that it? Like, obviously, guys, I'm not a homosexual. I don't know what the average size is. I'm into chicks, but
I think it's about 6.5 inches. I've heard, varying statistics, but let's just say 6.5. For me, it's about the girth. It really feels good to be filled up. So the length has its benefits too, but girth is where it's at, in my opinion. Yeah. As long as it's girthy, I'm happy.
Yeah. Well, some of us, Layla, we have best of the both worlds. We're both girthy and lengthy. So, like, are you okay with lengthy and girthy?
Absolutely. I have a dildo that's the size of you.
Oh my God, really?
You use it in the shower. I love it.
Oh yeah. So you're a toy type of girl. I like that.
Heck yeah.
So what's your favorite? There's so many different. You have the rabbit type. You have the what else is there? Oh God, there's so many different types and styles. Like what's your type of style?
Just I guess trying to use a lot of different toys at once. It just depends on my mood, but I don't think women explore their bodies enough, and toys are a great way to do that. So I'm a big advocate of that. And also, toys during a session when you're playing with a partner. But I just like a lot of stuff going on at once. I like my, clit stimulated, my G spot. I can orgasm either way, but when you're stimulating both at the same time, with the right toy, or because you have a penis in you and then you got a toy on your clit, there's just so much. God, I mean, I think pussies are magic. I feel bad for guys. I got to tell you. I mean, we just have so many sensations all over, in the outside, by pressure on the pubic bone, the clit, which actually is not just the end bulb that you see coming out. It runs it's got arms and legs, and it's very vast. It goes in different directions, and just putting pressure in different places. So the toys will help you do that and help you explore that and figure out what you like. And then, when you get to the bedroom with a partner, then you're just like a fucking superstar, you can rock.
Yeah, you're a fucking experience. You know what the fuck you're doing. I mean, the woman that doesn't know what the hell she's doing, she can't, obviously get you off and this and that. I get it. I mean, trust me, Layla, I've been with women that are fucking like rookies and lackeys in the bedroom, where they're like, I'm like, especially my ex-wife, and my ex I just was with maybe about a year ago. But it's questionable, Why
are you picking these? Why do you pick women that don't know their bodies and expect you to teach them about their bodies? That's crazy.
What would you say?
I said, why are you picking women that don't know their bodies and that are putting the pressure on you and the onus on you, really the unrealistic goal for you to teach them about their bodies? They need to show knowing about their bodies.
Yeah, I question that sometimes, because I don't do it intentionally, folks. I really don't. I mean, it's just maybe the women, even the most attractive women in this world, or you have different styles of women. Some women are attractive and they know what they're doing in the bedroom, and some women are like just butt ass ugly. But it's not always about traction. It's about who can stimulate me the most. Yeah. I don't know, Layla. I don't know. There's a lot of women that I've been with over the course of years that are just like, they're intimidated by me because of like what I have downstairs. I don't have the smallest dick in the world. I mean, I think I'm blessed in many ways, but it's that intimidation, I think,
Okay. So, but I don't think it's I'm going to have to beg to differ. I don't know that's the intimidation. I just think you're picking women that don't know. They're not sexually aware. And so, they probably have all these other good qualities. This is what I'm getting at. This is what I kind of learned. I learned through all this, the kind of person I was picking and why that wasn't working, And so as I started to explore sexually, that showed me, it was showing me this pattern, because what I wanted was great fucking sex. And I wanted it with somebody that I really liked as well. And so when I started to see what wasn't working and kind of tinker around with things, then I started being able to pick people very quickly that met that threshold or not. And if they don't, I just know, don't get caught in that, but she's so pretty, or she's so nice and she's a good girl, and you drag her along, and then you marry her, and then you're stuck in a dead bedroom, relationship, or the sex is just not great, and you're like, ugh, now I signed up.
Yeah, so I think Layla's trying to save me, because I'm like one of those guys that can offer a lot, but I'm picking like some sour grapes. You're pretty much saying, right?
You're doing the picking. Your penis is picking these women, and they're not right. They're not your good sexual match. So you have to, I guess, maybe do a little digging to find a better sexual match.
I guess I got to do something.
Because there's plenty of women there's size queens out there. Like, they are specifically looking for you. They won't mess around with anybody that's average or just slightly above average. They have to have a big dick. That is what they have to have. They crave it. They want it. They need it. Won't settle for anything less. That's the type of woman you should be with.
Yeah. Well, I got to find this soon, because I'm not getting younger, Layla. I just turned 40 like a couple months ago. So.
Oh, you're fine.
Yeah, yeah. Well, let's just say the area downstairs, folks, is still very much the same as if I was 20. But the hair on top of my head, my noggin, however you want to say it, that's showing age. That I could say.
Yeah. Is it thinning upstairs? Is that what you're trying to say?
It's thinning, and it's starting to go from salt and pepper to straight white.
Yeah,
So.
that's sexy.
Huh?
That's sexy.
Some women will say it's sexy. Some women will say, you got to put the just for men on it, Mike. Nah.
I vote no on that. I think, you know what? I think that silver fox look is sexy.
Yeah, it turns you on.
It does. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Again, when men start doing, I have this weird thing in my head. My brain's like, okay, how many feminine things do you do? And if I see too many, I'm like, then I know that I can walk all over you. Ultimately, that's what it leads to me thinking. Like, he's too soft, he's too sensitive. I need a guy that, I want you to be clean, trimmed up, manscaped and all that. You don't have to be bald or, anything down there, don't be gross, take showers, all that stuff, good hygiene. But you know what? If you're prettier than me or you spend more time, on your appearance than me, we got a problem.
I was going to say, oh God, you don't want to fucking, NSYNC or Backstreet Boy. I mean, Jesus Christ.
No, I mean, not unless they're total badass in the bedroom.
Well, yeah, but yeah, I mean, I get it. I mean, my type of chick would be like, now I'm starting to point to that picture because I could tell you, yeah, I had some merry-go-rounds in my life already. I was a fucking partier. I'll admit on the air, I was a fucking drunk in my early 20s. Did a lot of stupid shit, but you get older now, and you're like, you want to live like a somewhat of a perfect life, but you still have that badass fucking mentality. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. I know exactly what you mean. That's what I mean. You got to have a little bit, you got to still have that edge, that part of you that you can tap into. I know that we, now that we're not in our 20s anymore, we got to be responsible. We have our lives and obligations and all that stuff. But, you don't have to turn into a total, I don't know, boring fuddy dud. Bring some of that with you, that. Yeah,
I hear you. So I got another question here before we close it out here with you. What is your most wildest sexual experience? Now, what I mean by that, Layla, is it could be anything from fucking hotel, hookups to fucking in a car, or maybe a taxi or a fucking train one day, or anywhere. What was the most craziest sexual experience you've ever had in your life?
Oh my gosh. Well, first of all, there's been a lot. I will go back. I'm just going to, this is the biggest standout to me because of the sex being so it was almost like we knew each other's bodies. And this was the first time we'd hooked up. I met this. So, as I had bucket list items, as I was meeting guys along the way, they knew I had a bucket list. And it's great because the guys would say, oh yeah, I can do that. I can do this. I can do that. So one of the guys that I met, I wanted to learn how to squirt. And he said, oh, I can do that. And he was so confident. And I was just like, what? And I remember thinking, oh, get the fuck out of here. Really? What are you going to teach me about my body? That was kind of my thought. Anyway, we go out to dinner, we get to the hotel room, and this guy fucking rocked my world. Fucked the shit out of me. There wasn't a dry spot on that bed. And because of that, I was like, I'm not staying. He wanted me to stay the night. I'm like, nope, you can sleep in the wet spots. I'm going home. Plus I had to process, what the fuck just happened? This guy did everything right. I mean, multiple orgasms, and that doesn't usually happen the first time I sleep with somebody, maybe a few, but it was just we were so in sync, and he could make my body do things on command. I couldn't believe it. And I kept him around for a long, long time. Damn.
I was going to say that's oh shit, I don't think you would want to leave the guy after like some fucking hardcore sex. I mean, shit. You know?
This is where I realized what the term dickmatized means, like how you can get so sexually charged and desirous of another human being. It was like, anytime he and I are together, it's just like this constant like friction and energy, and you just want to be ripping each other's clothes off and, you know, fucking like animals. And I love that. And
oh, you said every time you see him. So, this is like a random like hookup every now and then, right?
he's not a random. At the time, I wasn't sure which way it would go. I like friends with benefits. I'm not a big fan of randos because, you know, it takes a while to get to know someone's body, and that I prefer to have people and I know, and then, you know about they're honest with you about what they're doing sexually.
Yeah, I get it.
So we were together for 3.5 years. We're still sort of off and on.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you like. It sounds like, Layla, you're a woman that likes to be adventurous, explore her horizons, so to speak. That's awesome. I think that's great. Yeah. But yeah, it's been a wild roller coaster with you, Layla. I enjoyed the conversation. Got the in-depth of Layla London folks here, and guys, you could check her out on her podcast, The Curious Girl Diaries, which she's available all over the place. Notice that you're on iHeart, Spotify, just about everywhere you hear a podcast, and some small platforms too. I've noticed that you've been on. For my listeners that want to learn a little bit more about you, is there any other plugins that you want to plug in?
Sure. The easiest way to get a hold of me is to go to my website, curiousgirldiaries.com. If you go to the homepage there, you can scroll down at the bottom, and you can link to all my social medias. I'm not going to call out all the handles because none of them match. So it's just easier to do that. And also, if you want to leave a comment about this episode that you heard, you can click on the pink tab on the right-hand side and leave me a voicemail. You've got 5 minutes. I get back to everybody personally. It's a real fun way. We can just kind of exchange comments. You can tell me what you thought, and I'll be sure to get back to you.
Yeah, sounds great, Layla. And folks, you can do the same thing. We have that option as well here. I leave in the show notes a poll, and I also leave a question. And in those show notes, you can leave the question, and then you can also answer to the poll as well. And also, too, I accept voice messages through the episode as well. So, Layla, I want to thank you for being part of Savage and Unfiltered today. Really enjoyed the conversation, and you have a good rest of your day.
I will. Thank you so much for having me on. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays to you. And guys, remember, keep it savaged. I'm out of here. Later.